What's up, guys? I'm going to be talking about sirens and the symbolism of women. And it's going to be a mix of a bunch of things. I'm also going to be talking about sulkies, the Celtic seals. And this whole point is based off of this one artwork that I made a couple years ago. It's called "The Man Fears All Women Are Sirens at Heart." And this is a collection, and like the actual meaning was like kind of an automatic like cut up method thing. So I have this book. It is called A Dictionary of Symbols, and I want to read what it says to start this video off. Alright, I'm gonna read it. In anthropology, women corresponds to the passive principle of nature. She has three basic aspects. First, as a siren, or a monstrous being who enchants, diverts, and entices men away from the path of their evolution. Second, as the motherland, the city of Mother Nature, related in turn to the formless aspects of water and the unconscious. And the third, as the unknown damsel, the beloved, or the anima in the Jungian psychology. So I'm going to stop right there. It goes on, talks about, let me see, Egyptian, and all of that, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, because I have something to point out. I really love how the first thing they fucking said about women is how we are deceivers. In the section of this book about symbols, they managed to have the first sentence about women being tricksters and a monstrous being. That's literally in the second sentence. How we're sirens. And it's talked about us like we're an object. It talks about us like we're simply just characters in a man's world, and how we're leading them down the path of destruction, and we're tricksters, and we're deceptive, and men are just susceptible to our beauty, and they don't know what they're doing, and we're manipulating them. And here's my thing. They say that women are manipulators, but I'm like, okay, but we get manipulated into marriages and into like situations where men tell us that we can't survive without them financially, emotionally, whatever, and we get stuck in these like situations throughout time, and we're the ones manipulating. There's something off about that. It sounds like projection to me. I want to read something I wrote on my typewriter a couple hours ago. Singing ancestral stories through song, wailing words, releasing my soul. Singing opens my chest up to the sky like smoke, a prayer. Our magic has been stolen from us. It's in plain sight, but they work hard to deceive us. Our song, our voice, our words, our healing, our wild dancing, our vulnerability, our wounds, our hearts, the parts of ourselves we were taught to hate. Don't be too angry or emotional. Don't be witchy. Don't put a spell on me. Don't feel intensely and express yourself. Don't manipulate us, but let us manipulate you. You accuse us of being a siren, but you act as if we are not also in this world, on the same journey and path. We are not just characters in your dream. We are not stagnant and simply there to help you achieve your dreams. We are ever changing. We are not objects in your story. We are alive. We are here. Don't act as if we are beautiful she-devils leading you astray. By no means I am saying we are not at the liberty to do such things, but you act as if we are from a male-centered universe. You act as if we were simply animals or spectators, but we are not. We are the creators. Each one of you comes from a woman. We are the alchemizers, the healers, the teachers, the wise ones, the storytellers. Our hands heal the earth and wipe your tears. We hold the weak. So, this also started from talking about the Salem witch trials and how women were accused of being witchy. And the thing is, a lot of that had to do with land. A lot of that had to do with people, women becoming, like, getting rights around this time and having, getting passed down land through their family. And there was a way for somebody, you could just accuse somebody of being a witch and steal their land. And that was very common back in the day. But at the same time, we also were more witchy and spiritual, and we did herbal healing, and we were in groups with women, and we would dance, and we would be wild, and that got fucking feared out of us. It eradicated out of women. It was passed down, fear from generations of women trying to hold us tight, trying to teach us how to not be wild and to be small so we wouldn't obviously this isn't just fear from the Salem witch trials, it's fear from, everything, like being in marriages, being in unsafe situations. Like, it was passed down throughout centuries, and like, we don't get taught how to actually be a woman, a spiritual woman, a magical woman, a wild woman, using our intuition and our bodies, and using the earth to alchemize and make healing potions for ourselves. And it's just not a talked about thing because it got like scared out of us. And men are, like, I feel like they think that we are so like scary and deceptive, but it feels like they're projecting. And it's like, kind of, obviously, like, the patriarchy affects men too. But it's annoying when people think that, like, women would conquer men just like men have conquered women. It's like, if we were in power, like, they assume that we would do the same thing, but we wouldn't, because we're not like that. We're tribal-based thinking. We think about family. We think about family units. We think about, longevity, and, like, we're thinking about the seasons. We're thinking about the earth. We're thinking about the children and the elderly. And it's like, the earth used to be matriarchal, and I'm just like, in the native cultures, like, they trusted women with these roles because we are the life givers, we're the creators. And it's like really sad to see when we're in like a male-centered world. Like, the research only gets done on, throughout time. Obviously things are changing, but everyone's just been thinking about how men are in the world and their cycles of hormones, and how they can wake up early as fuck and grind and, like, every day have that hit of testosterone, and women, like, don't run on that same cycle. And I've experienced feeling like I was, like, less worthy, or like lazy, or something was wrong with me because my cycle was like in like a lower state where I was like lower energy, and my partner at the time would be like high energy as fuck, and I would be so depressed. Like, I felt like I had a mental illness. Like, I just didn't want to get out of bed, and it was like, oh, like, I need to work with my body and my cycle. And I think it's just not talked about that much. And going back to the Salem witch trials, I'm like, low-key, like, there was things that they did take away from us. There were things that they did scare us out of doing. And we talk about the witch trials, and we talk about, like, the women and the magic and, like, it being stolen, but we don't actually know what it's, like, what's being stolen from us. Like, we don't actually look deeper and be like, wait, we are still oppressed. We are still not, like, able to feel wild and spiritual. Like, it's still like that. I'm gonna end this video with a tarot reading. I know I'm ending abruptly, but I just feel like the tarot reading will help me find the words to close this. I made this deck. It's handmade. I did the drawings. I cut the cards. This is the mother card. And this is the lover's card. And this is the pillars card. And the truth card. So maybe let's just go with that. Yeah, talking about the energy of how we, like us women, are the mothers, we're the creators, we're the healers. And I also want to state that in the definition, it acted like we weren't the beginning of life, we weren't the start of life, we weren't the literal vessel life comes from. Like, if I were to write a symbolism book and I would talk about women being symbols, I would literally start with life, how we give life, not about how we are deceptive. Like, sure, that's part of our folklore or whatever the fuck, but like, why put it the first thing? Like, we are mothers first, like we are lovers, like we alchemize with other people, and we like this, we're a part of that sacred union of, you know, giving birth and creating. And we are magic, we are life, we are love, we are peace, we are the yin energy, we're the internal, we're the intuition, we're the divine feminine. And I feel like we've been put in walls, and we've been tried to tame, we've tried to tame our women when we are wild, and we have intense feelings. And it's not just because we're on our period, it's because we're picking up the channel of the universe, and we go through every month shedding and renewing our bodies. And that's not because we're too emotional. It's not, all of the feelings that we feel during our cycles are valid and real and raw. It doesn't mean that it's less worthy of paying attention to. I'm gonna pull one more card. I've got the Hunter and the Journey card. Going back to the definition on how they were talking about how women deter men from their journey. I'm like, we are also on that journey. We are also on that spiritual journey. We are also experiencing this. I'm confused why you think we are just fucking characters in the sidelines. We are your co-creators. We are all creating this together. It just makes zero sense. And for the Hunter, let me see. I'm gonna pull another card for the Hunter. I've got the Hunter within. I want you to ask yourself where you've been suppressing and where you've been taming yourself, and where you've been taming other people and other women, and judging them and keeping them in line, because whatever you judge in yourself. And being vulnerable and being wild and being quirky and being childish and playful and intense and angry and deep feeling, all of that. You only judge somebody for that when you don't allow yourself to do that for yourself, and that doesn't just apply to women. And yes, I can make a whole video on men and patriarchy, and maybe I will, but right now I'm talking about my experience as a woman and how our magic has been slowly stolen from us, and we've been deceived thinking that we are lesser and we belong in the kitchen, and we are servants, and we are the life givers, and our symbol is not deceptive. And I don't give a shit what book says that in their story. We are also the creators, and I just know that there's been a lot of things erased from history, and a lot of stories about women erased from history, and simply because some men deem it unworthy or not important or too feminine or too frivolous. And a lot of our history has been erased, and I'm here to fucking say my piece on it. And the divinity of a woman isn't talked about enough. And like I said, there is a divine masculine, and yeah, I'll talk on that, but I'm not a man, you know. I have divine masculine in myself, but if a divine masculine wants to get on here and make a video about it, by all means. You know, I just know my experience, and I'm not saying I'm better. I'm pointing out my role and my perception from this, and women are divine. And I think looking for your bias and your judgments and how you feel and how you judge other women and how you judge yourself as a woman, that's where it starts. And we are the healers, and stop blaming us for your problems. I'm sorry, the male loneliness thing, I'm like, yeah, because it was socially acceptable for fucked up men to get wives back in the day, because women had no other choice, and women don't really need men right now, financially. And don't pout, because we don't need you financially. And if you want to be with one of us, then we actually have to like you. So that is not our fault. That's how it should be. So I'm not trying to be abrasive towards men, because I want you guys to hear me out, but also please recognize and validate my anger towards this, because I've had a lot of experience, and that's what I do. I talk about it and I dissect it, and that right now is my experience on being a woman, and how we're always accused of being deceivers and tricksters when we don't get enough recognition for literally being the mothers and the life givers and the creators.